Have you ever heard of a queen who led armies into battle, negotiated with colonial powers on her own terms, and ruled for decades as a master strategist? Today, we're diving into the incredible story of Queen Nzinga Mbandi, one of Africa's most brilliant and fearless leaders. Her life wasn't just a reign, it was a revolution. Born in 1583 in the Kingdom of Ndongo, in what is now modern-day Angola, Nzinga entered a world in turmoil. The Portuguese had arrived, and their insatiable demand for enslaved people was tearing the region apart. From a young age, Nzinga was different. Her father, the king, recognized her sharp intellect and fierce spirit. He allowed her to witness state affairs, learn military tactics, and even accompany him into battle. This was an education no ordinary princess received, and it forged her into the leader she was destined to become. The situation in Ndongo grew desperate. The Portuguese, through a combination of brutal raids and manipulative alliances with neighboring tribes, were weakening the kingdom. Nzinga's brother became king, but his rule was ineffective. He failed to stop the Portuguese advance, and the kingdom crumbled under the pressure. In this moment of crisis, he knew there was only one person who could face the enemy, his sister Nzinga, in 1622. She was sent on a critical diplomatic mission to Luanda to negotiate a peace treaty with the Portuguese governor. This is where one of the most iconic stories about Nzinga takes place. Upon arriving for the meeting, she found the Portuguese governor seated in an ornate chair, while only a floor mat was offered to her, a deliberate insult to imply her inferiority. Nzinga didn't flinch. She calmly motioned to one of her servants, who knelt on all fours, creating a human throne for her to sit on. With this single powerful act, she established herself as his equal, stunning everyone in the room. She was not there to beg. She was there to negotiate. Her brilliance didn't stop at symbolic gestures. During the negotiations, she showcased her deep understanding of politics and her fluency in Portuguese. She argued for the sovereignty of her kingdom, demanded the return of her people, and brokered a peace treaty. As part of the deal, she even agreed to be baptized, taking the Christian name Ana de Souza. For a moment, it seemed like peace was possible, but the Portuguese were not to be trusted. They soon violated the treaty, resuming their raids and their quest for power. Nzinga's brother died shortly after under mysterious circumstances, and Nzinga ascended to the throne in 1624. Her claim was immediately challenged, both by the Portuguese and by rivals within her own kingdom who opposed a female ruler. But Nzinga was prepared. She wasn't just a queen. She was a warrior queen. Realizing that diplomacy alone wouldn't save her people, she took to the battlefield. For the next 30 years, she waged a relentless war of resistance against the Portuguese. She was a master of guerrilla warfare, using her knowledge of the terrain to launch surprise attacks and then vanish back into the landscape. She trained her soldiers, both men and women, into a formidable fighting force that the Portuguese struggled to contain. Nzinga was also a brilliant political strategist. She understood the principle of the enemy of my enemy is my friend. She forged an alliance with the Dutch, who were also rivals of the Portuguese in the region. She also offered sanctuary to runaway slaves and defecting soldiers, swelling the ranks of her army and weakening her enemies from within. Her kingdom became a beacon of freedom, known as a free country where those escaping Portuguese enslavement could find refuge. Driven from her original kingdom of Ndongo, she didn't surrender. Instead, she marched her followers east and conquered the nearby kingdom of Matamba, establishing a powerful new state. From this new base, she continued her fight. She blended the roles of political leader, spiritual head, and military commander seamlessly. She often dressed in men's clothing when leading her troops, blurring gender lines and commanding respect through her sheer competence and bravery. Even in her later years, Nzinga's fire never dimmed. She continued to adapt her strategies. When her alliance with the Dutch faltered, she re-established communication with the Portuguese, not as a defeated subject, but as a ruler seeking a lasting peace for her people. She was always thinking one step ahead, always focused on the survival and sovereignty of her kingdom. When she died in 1663 at the age of 80, she left behind an incredible legacy. She had successfully kept the Portuguese from completely conquering her lands for over 3 decades. She had built a strong, stable kingdom in Matamba that would remain independent for many years after her death. Queen Nzinga's story is a powerful reminder that history is filled with remarkable figures who fought against oppression with courage, intelligence, and an unbreakable will. She was a diplomat, a military genius, and a queen who refused to bow to colonial powers. Her life challenges our perceptions of leadership and gender, proving that a true monarch's strength lies not in their crown, but in their commitment to their people. What an amazing story of resistance and resilience. Queen Nzinga deserves to be a household name, remembered as one of the greatest leaders in world history. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the past. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that like button, subscribe for more, and let me know in the comments which historical figure you'd like to see covered next. See you in the next video.